Hello again. I wanted to share with you today my inspection of hive number 5. It's been a couple of weeks now, so I wanted to go ahead and start inspecting this hive to take a look and see how spring is progressing for them. So far in the spring, I usually end up doing my inspections around every couple of weeks. In the summertime, I try to aim for every 7 to 10 days. It's variable. Right now, I'm going to take off the inner cover. There's a little bit of dried sugar on here that needs to be cleaned off. I also have a moisture eliminator that has charcoal in it, and you can see how much moisture from the winter time has actually been in here. This thing works amazing, but it helps suck out a lot of moisture. So I've been keeping that in there throughout the spring as well. So right now I'm going to take off the inner cover. I want to go ahead and take a look and see what the queen's doing. How is she doing? Is she laying in the upper box, or is she laying in the bottom box, or both? Right now it's just a little bit over 60 degrees. So I need to take a look and see how the bees are doing, what's going on inside the hive, how are they filling everything up. So those are my main things that I'm looking for right now, is basically queen health. Are there any drones being born right now? Has the queen started even laying drones? And some of the hives she has, but I'm not sure on all of them, so I need to double check really quick. And then I need to also check and see how she's doing with her color. She was green whenever I purchased her, so now I'm gonna check again and make sure that she still has her markings so she's easy to spot. And we'll see how she is faring in here. Right now the propolis, it hasn't been sitting in the sun. The hive has not been in the sun for quite a while, quite a few hours, so the propolis is still a little bit hard to manage on some of these frames. In the heat of the summer, it's really sticky and gooey. So we'll just take our time now and see how they're doing. So far so good. It looks like on this empty frame, I had moved some frames around to get the bees to start working on them, so I had started feeding them, but right here you can see that this is all brand new wax. So you see this is a little bit discolored from them walking on it, and then this is all brand new wax. This is really good. I was trying to give them something to do besides fill everything up. And there were some of these spots that needed to actually have more wax built, and some of them that didn't have any wax on them. Right now the queen's been laying in here. I see some eggs and some larvae. So there you go. She's laying anywhere and everywhere, which is awesome. And these are brand new fresh eggs, so this is super cool. Just give it a second to see if I can spot her real quick before I set this frame aside. She is laying in every single square inch of this place that she can. So anywhere that they've built wax, she's gone ahead and laid an egg, which is perfect. So that's pretty much what we're looking for. We want to see how she's doing. Right now I'm going to set this frame aside real quick so I can get to working on the other frames. And my main concern isn't really the queen cup cells yet. It's mainly just the drones. It's also the health of the hive. It's their numbers. Right now I can only see a couple of bees right now on a couple of the frames. I don't see them completely full of bees on the top of the frame, so their numbers are getting bigger by the day. Right there's a nice capped brood right there. You can see all the capped brood. I'm not smoking them, so you'll see them get a little bit agitated by my breath, things like that, but I am not choosing to smoke them right now. So right now all I'm doing is just taking a look and seeing if I can find the queen. So far I don't see her. Again, this is back to the brood right here where they're raising all the babies. They've got some nice nectar in here, and they've also got some pollen in here, which is perfect, but I don't see the queen yet. Lots of new brood, which is perfect, so this is awesome. There's some cool frames in here I'm going to show you that I had moved around. I have honey on the outside, empty frames on the middle because I wanted them to try to fill them up a little bit, and these empty frames, they are actually starting to put wax on them, which is great. So it'll give the queen more room to lay, and as their numbers increase, this will help give them some more space. So kind of rearranged everything, but right here you can see that is just basically the frame is empty, but they are building wax, which is great. So you can see right there they're working hard with that. So it's essential, if you don't have a lot of forage in your area, which we don't, that if you can, go ahead and feed them during the spring if you need them to fill up wax on the frames. You don't feed them in the summer because of whenever the nectar flow is on, you want the bees to be able to get their own honey and fill up everything. And if you ever put it on a honey super, then you don't want to have sugar syrup in there. So you want it to be pure, raw, and from what they have found in the area. So right here is brand new wax. You can see that they're building. Super cool. All of that is brand new wax. It looks amazing and looks really pretty. I do have some of their frames in here that are empty from last year, from the winter. They went ahead and used all their stores up, so I'd put these up here. Most of their work is down below, but they should be filling these up with pollen and nectar soon. So these are still up here for now. Kind of still just a little bit on the empty side. But it looks like they are filling them up with bee bread, which is perfect. And that's what they look like whenever they're empty. They're this nice color. They're really dark cells because of the different types of pollen and everything that the bees have been getting into. And this hive particularly makes really dark propolis, which is pretty cool. So now I'm going to gently push their frames back over. I need to get the brood nest back in there because she does have 2 frames of brood, so I got to get these back in here. So I'm going to gently take these back up, and I'm going to put the babies back in here. I try not to keep them out very long. This time wasn't terribly long or anything, but with the wind, I kind of don't want them out and about. So one thing's for certain, I can see that they're doing really good. They're still filling everything up. They've got a long ways to go. Oh, right there. So you can see this. That is a bald-faced hornet right there, unfortunately. This is a queen wasp right here. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. Go figure. Bees don't give me the heebie-jeebies. Wasps do. This is a nasty queen wasp. I need to get her out of the hive. They'll get her out for me, but at the same time, do I really want her in the hive? Not really. I was trying to get her out of here so she doesn't take any bees with her, because she will take the bees with her. And she'll eat them and feed them to her young. But, as this goes, now I've kind of sandwiched this wasp in here. I'm going to try to get it out, though. I need to get it out of here. It's injured because I did whack it, but I'll show you. There's the wasp right there. So that's the bald-faced hornet. It looks like it's a queen. They're a little bit on the bigger side, so we'll get that out of there. That way it doesn't attack my bees, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the inspection. So every once in a while I can find them, and then every once in a while, I mean, like that, they just appear. So I really want to protect the hive as much as possible. I know they can do their job, but it's going to take them even more work to try to kill that wasp. So if I can eliminate a little bit of threat, then I will. Okay, so everything's good to go here. Top box looks great. So now I'm going to go ahead and move this top box over onto the inner cover. I need to check out the bottom deep and see how it's doing. Sometimes I call them deeps, boxes, whichever you want to call them, brood chambers. Either way, this is all for the bees to lay in. So it's a little bit on the stuck side right now. I'll try to be very careful when I pick this up and put it on the inner cover. I know it's a disruption to them, but I need to see how they're doing. And this looks pretty good down below. So I'm trying to be as gentle as possible. Down here I've got 3 frames that are definitely covered with bees for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with any frame possible. Go ahead and pick it up and start looking and seeing how they're doing. Just to get an idea for this hive. I haven't inspected them in a while. I can see I've got some ant issues. I had put diatomaceous earth down, but unfortunately that's kind of not really doing anything. So I was hoping that that would kind of help underneath the rugs, because there was a couple of ant dens, but so far I don't notice any difference of it. Just some ants roaming around. The ants will eat the dead bees. The ants will eat whatever they can get, sugar, you name it. Some of the pollen too. So I try to just minimize all their issues for them. Alright, here we go. Like I said, it's a little bit still kind of chilly, so it's kind of hard to pull these frames out, but this is pretty awesome. Gotta go nice and slow. This is a nice brood pattern right here. It's a yellow frame. Let me make sure. Oh, fantastic. Guess what? We have drones too. This is so exciting. Okay. So here is all the brood right here. So far so good. It looks really good. She's definitely still laying eggs. The yellow foundation makes it harder for me to see the eggs. I try my best, but I can definitely see the larva really easily with yellow foundation, so it's pretty cool. Just not the eggs. Okay, so on this side of it, what you're going to see at the top here, I'm going to try to turn it towards you, is right here, those little popcorn looking ones, those are all drones. Good to see drones. I want to see them. It means that we're going to have, see, I believe it's around 26 days the drones will hatch. They are the longest that it takes for them to basically incubate inside of there. They'll end up hatching once the drones are hatched. Then I think it's 2 weeks after the drones are hatched, they will go on mating flights with the virgin queens. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to set this frame aside so that I can go ahead and start working on the other frames. So be nice and gentle with the babies. You want to put them back together exactly the way that you found them whenever you take them apart. So looks like the pollen patty, they're just kind of tearing apart all the wax paper that was on the pollen patty, but I want to see drones because there's another hive that we have that has an aggressive behavior. The bees aren't being very nice, and so anytime I walk by, they just don't like me because they don't realize that I'm their mother. All these other hives have been really good to me, but that's just because I've had them their whole time. Okay, here we go. Nice and gentle. I want to share with you. This right here is the queen. She's right there. Right there. She has the green dot, so I'll put my finger there. There she is. There's the queen. She's doing amazing. So we're super happy with that. I like that she's doing good. Right here, one of the cells opened up. There's a drone cell right there. So those had opened up, but hopefully you can see that. She looks really pretty and she's doing really good. So I'm just going to be cautious as I'm looking at this frame. So far so good. Okay, the other thing is queen cup cells. Do I see any? Are they going to try to replace her? What are they doing? Stuff like that. It looks good so far. I haven't seen any. It's going to be super cool when you do see them, and then you just kind of figure it out from there. But in the meantime, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put these back in here. I'm going to be as cautious as possible because she is there. I really want to finish out the rest of my inspection, so if I want to be specific with my inspection, I'm going to have to cage her so that I don't end up injuring her as I'm doing the rest of the inspection. So I can go ahead and share that with you. Hopefully I can do it with ease. Sometimes it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to come over here with her, grab my little queen clip. I just have one. Love this thing. I'm going to try to grab her and put her in here just for a little bit. So try to be cautious. There we go. Okay, so she is on here. We're good to go. Got a couple other bees in here with her, but let's see. Here we go. Okay, so she's inside this little clip right here. I'm just going to set that down for a minute. At least I know she's safe. That's my favorite thing to talk about, is I'm kind of fumbly and I don't have the best dexterity sometimes, so I want to be cautious. I don't want to kill her. I need her. She's amazing. But see, right now I'm not even smoking them. These bees are great. My other hive, however, that we'll talk about later when I go to inspect them, if I smoke them, I can't find the queen. If I don't smoke them, they're very upset at me and they kind of just are always harassing, and anytime I walk by, it just straight to the face, they keep trying to sting me now. So that's kind of been an issue that I've kind of debated. Do I want to requeen with that hive? It's not originally my hive, so I think consensus is that I'm going to have to requeen them because you don't want to be attacked every time you're trying to do anything. So there we go. Let's try to be as gentle as possible on getting these frames in here. Okay, so I've got two of the frames are great. I need to check out the other brood ones. That's usually anywhere the brood chamber is where they would have queen cup cells if needed. So we'll check that out and see. Otherwise, I'm just going to button them back up. They're going to go. She's laying up top. She's laying down below. She's alive. That's exciting. So, and then they're just going to be good to go. I'll be on to hive number 6 in a minute. So there's a ton of propolis right here. I know you can't see it, but they use it as their glue. And because this wasn't on the top originally, they've got a ton of propolis right there. So, okay, right here, looks like we're good to go. We got some drones there as well. So I'm going to share with you. Let's see, where'd she go? Well, I was going to share with you something cool, but I think she went on the other side. Regardless, they've got some really nice, bright orange pollen coming in. These drones look good. I'm excited. So I'm really happy that she's making a bunch of drones. So definitely helpful for some of the other races like the Saskatraz and the survivor stock of the two that I have. And then those came into a split and a swarm and another split. So those are the two primary ones. The third race is unknown. I have a feeling it's either Italian or Carniolan, but either way, that's the aggressive hive. So these two ones, survivor stock and the Saskatraz, have been great. They've all overwintered really well, which is fantastic. So that's the best I can ask for them. So now that the queen's here, I don't want to put her in right now because I just don't want to risk it. I'm probably going to put her in the top. She can move her way back down, and then we'll be good to go. So I'll just button them up, and then I'll just go ahead and take these off because they're not even using them anymore. So that's their old sugar. That was just mainly to see if they needed it, they could have it. The pollen patty still feels good though. So it doesn't look like they're munching too much on those, but regardless, we'll see. So now I'm going to take the top deep, and I'm going to go ahead and put this back on here. Try to be gentle as much as possible. It's kind of nerve-wracking to have a bunch of bees get squished, and try not to because that's upsetting to them as well. There we go. So the bottom's on. I'm not going to mess with the inner cover or anything. I don't need to take it apart. They've been doing really good at getting all of the dead bees out of there. Sorry, not the inner cover, but the bottom. So with this, you can see on my screen bottom board that all these lines are bee trash, and these are the lines of all the wax and the cappings that they've been having whenever they go ahead and the babies will chew themselves out of the cappings. So that's basically all that is. The babies will chew their way out, and then all this drops on the ground, and there's some pollen in here, but otherwise the main thing to look for is definitely mites, because you can either treat in the spring, in the summer, in the fall. If you get a package of bees, usually that has already been treated, and same with your nuke whenever you get them in the spring. So, so far my mite numbers have been 0, and then only one hive had 1 mite. So with that being said, to treat them, you know, I can go ahead and treat them. Otherwise I can keep monitoring it as best as possible. So here we go. I have a baby on this little queen clip too. A little tiny baby bee is right there, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop the queen in. She's gonna go down, and then we'll be good to go. So here we go. I'll show you. Here's the queen. I haven't actually held a queen before. Usually I'm just super overly cautious because I want to make sure that she's okay. I don't think she likes my gloves either, which I don't blame her. They're a bit on the flimsy side. So there's the queen. She's on my finger, and now we're gonna just place her in the hive so that she can be good to go. Actually, she's on my hand now, so that's pretty cool. There's a first time for everything, right? Okay, so now we're gonna take her and just put her in the hive. So here she goes. Come on, Queenie. Okay, so she's crawling in. She's gonna go down, and then after that we should be good to go. So she's in, she's down. I'm gonna grab the inner cover. I'm gonna put everything back together. I really wanna disrupt them as least as possible. They know she's in there, so we're good. Like I said, I'm kind of fumbly fingers with my gloves and everything. So there's that. The inner cover is on there. This is just an empty box for my observation purposes, so I'm gonna put that back on there. I've had some kind of issue with gaps, so that's why I have these little plastic shims. And then I'll go ahead and fill this back up. See, there's another bee right there that would be normally going for my face right now, so it doesn't matter which hive I'm working in. This one hive does not like me regardless, so. And I'll show you them later. But otherwise, these little shims go in here so that no wasps can get in. Eventually I'm gonna have to kind of work on this box and re-level it out, so. Otherwise we're good to go with that. Everything looks great, and then that was it. So pretty simple, right? Anyways, thank you. I hope you have a great day. Bye.